Welcome everyone to our latest live stream. And indeed, we are going to be going through several more verses of the Mukunda Mala Stotra. And just to remind people, this is a truly beautiful, somewhat long work, not compared to a lot of Vedic scriptures, but indeed it's more than 6 verses. And today we're going to be doing verses 10, 11, and 12. So we'll get through all 3 of these verses and then followed by questions and answers. Before we begin, let me just say very quickly, for everyone who's watching online now specifically, please feel free to like this video as soon as you can. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, well, why haven't you? Please subscribe right now if you can. You just hit that subscribe button. I believe you still have to hit the bell so that you get notifications, etc. And when you have a chance, please visit our website, dharmacentral.com, and you'll have much more information about Sanatana Dharma on there. But with that, indeed, let's dive into what we're going to be doing today. And just to give a little bit of a preface, what we are going to be looking at today are 3 verses that are quite beautiful, actually. They go together in a very, very nice way. And indeed, this is quite unique. There have been several devotees throughout history who have written along these lines, and that is the idea of speaking to our own minds. And this is what King Kulashekhara does here in these 3 verses that we are about to look at, where indeed he is speaking to his own mind. And this is something where, interestingly, again, several devotees throughout history have written in a similar sort of way. But the question is, why is this a necessity? Why is this the case, that some devotees indeed do this? Well, let me say it's actually more devotees than people think. Indeed, who among us has not at one point or another kind of spoken to our own mind, either chastising our own mind or just cajoling our own mind in such a way that we're telling our mind to do the right thing? Now, why is this the case? Well, of course, for most of us, the mind is not completely under our control. That being the case, of course, what a great devotee will want is to tell the mind to, instead of focusing on all sorts of things that ultimately are not really of great importance, to instead focus that powerful awareness of the mind itself upon that which is of ultimate importance, and that is upon God. So, all this being said, this is what Kulashekhara now does with these several verses. So let's go through these verses. We'll start with verse 10 of Mukunda Mala Stotra. And first I'll read the verse, then we'll comment upon it. O foolish mind, stop your fearful fretting about the extensive torments imposed by Yamarāja. How can your enemies, the sinful reactions you have accrued, even touch you? After all, is your master not the Supreme Lord, the husband of the Goddess Śrī? Cast aside all hesitation and concentrate your thoughts on Lord Nārāyana, whom one very easily attains through devotional service. What can that dispeller of the whole world's troubles not do for his own servant? So indeed, beautiful, beautiful verse where, indeed, like I said, King Kulashekhara here is speaking to his own mind. But let's see what he says. Let's go through this. So first he says, "O foolish mind." Now let's stop with that. How interesting that this is how he chooses to address his own mind. And of course, when he's saying this, he's not really chastising his mind. He's trying to show a point. He's trying to show several things. The first of which is what I said, that with most of us, when we look at our mind and when we truly analyze our own mind, this is something only human beings are capable of, self-reflection. You know, other lower beings are not capable of this, but human beings and above are capable of this, and that is that we stop and we reflect upon our own mind itself. We contemplate our mind. We think about what is the nature of our own mind. And when we do this, most people, the vast majority of people, what do we find? We find that in a way our mind is foolish. And again, not in a harsh way, in a very interesting way. Why is this the case? Because the mind itself is something which, even though it is our mind, we know we have a mind and we identify it as my mind, despite this fact, we often see that the mind will focus on everything, anything except what we should be focusing that mind upon. It's almost as if the mind is someone else. And now, here we come to the crux of the issue of why devotees will sometimes speak to their own mind. They're not schizophrenic. They're not suffering from some sort of identity crisis. No. Often it's as if our mind is something separate from ourselves, a separate person who does whatever it chooses to do. That being the case, an intelligent person, a wise person, realizing this, will eventually come to the point where they indeed address the mind almost as if it's a different person. So this is what Kulashekhara is doing here, and he begins in this way, "Oh, foolish mind." So again, why? Because he realizes that the mind is something that, for most people, is not under control. Now keep in mind, for Kulashekhara, his mind is under control. Complete control. He's not just anyone. He is a perfect king and a perfect devotee. He is saying this prayer, first of all, in absolute humble sincerity. But he's saying this prayer also for us, for everyone else, all the other denizens of the Kali Yuga, of which he was one. He lived over 4,000 years ago. But he's speaking especially to people today who are facing this challenge of, again, the mind not cooperating. Now, let's go on. What does he say to his mind? Stop your fearful fretting. All right. This is crucial. As we know, this is something that is a theme certainly of Bhagavad Gita, certainly of the Vedic scriptures. It's also a theme that people have heard come from me again and again and again, because every single word that comes out of my mouth comes directly from the Vedic scriptures in spirit, and that is, do not fear. Do not fear. So he's telling his mind, stop your fearful fretting. Fretting. What is meant by fretting? Worrying. You're worrying all the time. And about what? About the extensive torments imposed by Yamarāja. Now, who is Yamarāja? Yamarāja is indeed one of the gods. We know that in Sanatana Dharma, we believe that ultimately there is one supreme being, but there are also other beings, lesser than God, much greater than ourselves, who indeed, on behalf of God, they rule over this world and they have their various functions that they do. Yamarāja is one of these. Yamarāja is the king of death. So the idea is that when we pass away, we have to face Yamarāja, and then he imposes karma upon us, different sorts of punishments, etc. Now, how interesting that Kulashekhara is telling his own mind, not only do not be fearful, not only stop worrying, but stop worrying even about anything that might be coming your way because of past indiscretions. Don't worry about karma, in other words. Don't worry about, being punished by Yamarāja. Don't worry about any of these things. How interesting. Because in normative religiosity, let's say, the truth of the matter is it's quite normal for an individual to be, let us say, concerned about having done, bad things in the past. And now there's some sort of karma coming toward us, etc. This is how the world operates. And indeed, it's in thinking, contemplating such things, that most people will then try to prevent doing bad things in the future, etc. This is normative religion. This is social religion. But interestingly, what is Kulashekhara saying here? He's saying, really, yes, while that's all true, my mind, I am telling you, don't worry about this. This should not be your number one concern. Why does he say that? We'll see. We'll see as we go on with these 3 verses. And now he continues. He asks a question. How can your enemies, the sinful reactions you have accrued, even touch you? How interesting. And we see, of course, this is a perfect continuation of what he just said about Yamarāja and the punishments given to us. He now says, how is it possible? How is it that your enemies, and he makes it clear, what enemies? What he was talking about, the sinful reactions that have come, that are going to be coming to you. How can these in actuality really even touch you? Now again, let's pause. Who is he addressing? He's addressing his own mind, but whose mind? You see, this is something we have to keep in touch, that we have to keep in mind as we think about this. Who and what is he addressing? He's addressing the mind of a devotee. Please keep this in mind. Not the mind of just anyone, not the mind of just the typical person. He's talking about the mind of a devotee. So he's speaking certainly to his own mind, but really he's speaking to anyone who is a Vaishnava, anyone who is a devotee of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And he's saying, oh, sinful reactions? Oh, he's not saying, oh, that's good, you should celebrate them. No. But he's saying, oh, you've done sinful things in the past. There are punishments that are coming your way or that you're going through right now. But you're a devotee. You're not just a normal person. They actually cannot touch you spiritually. Spiritually. Now let's go on. And now he explains why. After all, is your master... Now, we're going to stop there. The word your. Who is he speaking to again? Who is he speaking to? Oh yes, the mind, but the mind of?
Himself.
Vaishnavas. He's speaking to the mind of Vaishnavas, and what he says to them is perfect, and by what he says, you can tell he's speaking to Vaishnavas. After all, is your master, that is, the Vaishnava, not the Supreme Lord, the husband of Goddess Śrī? So indeed, he's speaking to Vaishnavas here. He's explaining, what is he explaining? Ma shuchaha, do not fear. Why? Because you're a devotee. And a devotee of who? Again, he makes this very clear. You are a devotee, and your master is the Supreme Lord. And then, again, to make it very clear who he's speaking about. Fill in the blank. He's not talking about the Three Stooges. He's not talking about Abbott and Costello. He's not talking about President Macron of France. He's not talking about fill in the blank. He makes it clear who he's speaking about. The husband of the Goddess Śrī. There's only one husband of the Goddess Śrī. That is Nārāyana. So because you are a devotee of Nārāyana, who is the husband, the consort of the Goddess Śrī, Lakshmi Devi, you have no reason to fear. Now let's go on. Now he goes deeper. Cast aside. Now he's asking you to not just not fear. You see, that was the negative. Now he's asking you to actually do positive action. Now is the positive. Cast aside all hesitation. So indeed, what does this mean? This means that if you are a devotee of the Lord, if you are a Vaishnava, allow nothing to hold you back in your service toward Sriman Nārāyana. Allow nothing to hold you back in your service toward Dharma. Do not allow fear, do not allow hesitation, do not allow regret, do not allow anything to hold you back from what you must do in your service. So cast aside all hesitation and concentrate your thoughts on Lord Nārāyana. So indeed, this is what the Vaishnava is to do. Indeed, really in reverse order. We focus all of our attention, all of our awareness upon Lord Nārāyana, and as a result, all hesitation is cast aside. We have nothing, in other words, holding us back. In other words, to state this correctly, Shaktida, we are empowered. We are empowered. We are empowered by God Himself, and nothing can stop us. Nothing. Nothing. And no one can stop us. Let's go on. So concentrate your thoughts on Lord Nārāyana, whom one very easily attains. Oh, let's pause there. To attain, to use Kulashekhara's language, to attain God, to attain God. I've said this many times. I've said this many times. Is the most difficult thing in creation, in all of existence, and at the same time the easiest. At the same time the easiest. People who think attaining God is cheap will never attain God. Difficult. One who surrenders with absolute and utter sincerity at the feet of God, on the other hand, will attain God. So let's look at what this is saying here. whom, that is Nārāyana, whom one very easily attains, but how? Through bhakti, through devotional service. This is how we attain God. Bhakti, surrender with devotion at the feet of God. Now let's go on. What can that dispeller of the whole world's troubles not do for his own servant? And here we are. We are all the servants of Nārāyana. Those of us who are Vaishnavas, those of us who are sincere. We are servants of Lord Nārāyana. And this being the case, indeed, he asks this question. What can that dispeller of the whole world's troubles, that is Nārāyana, and let's focus on that in itself. This is who God is. He dispels the troubles of the whole world. Now, Asura's advocate in the little corner over there in the shadow. Asura's advocate. Well, but what does that mean? There are so many troubles in the world. Where is God? Why isn't he dispelling? Where is God? 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 The little chattering, the eternal little chattering of the atheist. Of course, what is meant by this is that once one surrenders at the feet of God and becomes a servitor of God, then at that point for that individual, all trouble is ended. All trouble is ended. So there is a conditional clause that is here. Not just that you are a terrible human being and you'll have no troubles. No, you're going to have a lot of troubles of your own making. Of your own making. If you're a terrible human being. And you should have a lot of troubles. There are a lot of terrible people in this world. And today, especially in 2026, they're having a lot of troubles, and they will continue to have a lot of troubles exponentially. If you're a terrible person, you should have troubles. But indeed, he makes it clear here. He's talking about the servant of God. For that individual who has surrendered at the feet of God and who is a servant of God, he has zero troubles. Because why? Because Nārāyana himself is the dispeller of all such troubles. Very good. Let's go on to the next verse of the Mukunda Mala Stotra that we are going to look at, and that is verse 11. And again, please keep in mind with these two verses now that we're going to do, Kulashekhara is still addressing his own mind in theory. Really, he's telling us to address our mind. So this verse proceeds in this way. The people in this vast ocean of birth and death are being blown about by the winds of material dualities. As they flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence, with no boat to help them, they are sorely distressed by the need to protect their sons, daughters, and wives. Only the boat that is Lord Vishnu can save them. Beautiful verse, all of these. It's redundant, isn't it, at this point for me to say beautiful verse, beautiful verse. These are all beautiful verses. But, as you approach each of them, it's like approaching a new instance of beauty that's even different from the last instance of beauty and different from the instance before then, and on, infinitely so. That is the nature of Veda Shastra. That is the nature of the Vedic scriptures. That indeed we have to say each verse is beautiful, and they're all beautiful in different ways. It is amazing. But let's look at this. We can go through this quickly because, of course, what Kulashekhara is doing here is he is explaining our precarious place in this world and how this is a world of suffering. Indeed, it is a new age preoccupation in the last, few generations, that people like to pretend that they're spiritual, throw their hands over their eyes and pretend that, no, everything is light, love, and laughter, everything is good, don't focus on the negative, no, the world, everything's good, everything's wonderful, etc., without acknowledging reality. And what is that reality? What not just Kulashekhara here says, but what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what the Buddha himself also said when he gave his first sermon in Deer Park, what all of the truly ancient sages always say again and again and again. What is the nature of the world around us? It is a realm of duality. It is a realm in which, we can go deep into nature and see the most wondrous beauties we can imagine on the one hand. On the other hand, it's a horrible world. It's also a horrible world. It's also a world of suffering. It's also a world in which, as the little New Age pseudo hippie living in Los Angeles, living in San Francisco, living in New York, is at a little cafe sipping on their lavender tea and thinking that all is wonderful and I'm so great, look at me, I'm so spiritual. At the same time, there are people throughout the third world who are starving to death and who are living in hovels. There is suffering in this world. You don't even have to go to poor nations. You can be in Europe, you can be in America, and what do we see? Internally, so many people who are suffering. Well, the ancient sages understood this. They were realistic about the world. They understood the beauty of it. They also understood the ugliness of it. So indeed, this is now what Kulashekhara is trying to bring to our attention. And indeed, he mentions the dualities. Let me read this. As people in the vast ocean of birth and death, there alone are dualities. This is the realm of birth and death, this cycle of birth and death that takes place within the material world that we are a part of. So the people in this vast ocean of birth and death are being blown about by the winds of what? Material dualities. So indeed, people like to use this word, dualities, 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 without quite understanding what is meant by this. This is truly the nature of the material world, that one day is wonderful and then, no, not the next day, 10 minutes later is terrible. And then things are seemingly wonderful again, and then terrible, and then kind of neutral. And it shifts and changes, and it's not 50-50. It doesn't just go back and forth. Sometimes the terrible can last for a year. Sometimes the wonderful can last for a year. And we don't know. Such is the nature of this material world. And if we are to be truly spiritual individuals and seek liberation, we need to know what we're seeking liberation from. Correct? We need to know, what am I seeking liberation from? And it is precisely this duality, and this is the thing that people always misunderstand. But Krishna does not in Bhagavad Gita, Kulashekhara does not, etc. It's not merely that, oh, as far as this seesaw of duality, oh, when things are bad, oh yes, that's terrible, I have to grin and bear it. But when things are seemingly good, oh, now I can rest on my laurels. Oh, this is the spiritual. No. The duality itself is the pain. The duality itself. The headache one day, the chocolate chip ice cream the next day. They're both bad. It's the duality itself that keeps us bound. It's the fact that we are, how does he say here, being blown by the winds of this duality. You see? Again, it's amazing for people who truly appreciate just literature in general. What to speak of, even using the word literature to the Vedic scriptures barely applies. This is beyond literature. This is perfectional literature. But even from a literary perspective, how beautiful how he explains this. That again, it's the dualities themselves, even the good, not just the bad, both of them. The fact that we are on this continuous seesaw that produces our suffering. Now let's go on. As such individuals flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence. So indeed, why are we in these waters? Why are we in these waters? Due to sense indulgence. What does that mean? Really, without going radically deeply, because we have in the past, what does this actually mean? It means selfishness. Very simple. It means selfishness, egotism, narcissism, putting ourselves in the center, in the center, in the center of all things. That's what keeps us within this ocean. So let's go on. With no boat to help them, seemingly no boat to help them. Is there a boat to help us? Very simple question. Is there, in fact, let me make it easier. Is there actually a boat to help us? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. There actually is. Due to our own selfishness, are we aware of that boat? No. This is what Kulashekhara is saying here. There is a boat, but when we are self-centered, we don't see that boat. As far as we're concerned, there is no boat. There's just the tossing and turning in this ocean of material sense indulgence. Very good. And it goes on. It doesn't stop there. They are sorely distressed by the need to protect their sons, daughters, and wives. Oh, so again, we can see the suffering that so many beings are in. Not only are we in suffering because of, again, our own self-centeredness, but we suffer not just for ourselves, but for those who we love as well. Now, this seems to be very negative, doesn't it? It's not, because how does this end? Only the boat that is Lord Vishnu can save them. So again, is there a boat? Oh yes, there is a boat. For those who focus only on themselves and their own selfish needs, do they see that boat? No, they don't see that boat, but there is a boat that is there. And what is that boat? Lord Vishnu himself. So indeed, with all this, going back and forth, this duality that we're experiencing within the context of the material world, is there a way out of this? Oh, indeed there is, and that is Lord Vishnu. Now let's go on to the last verse that we're going to look at today. And this is verse 12 of Mukunda Mala Stotra. Again, continuing to address his own mind, this is Kulashekhara, he continues, Dear mind, do not bewilder yourself by anxiously thinking, quote, how can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence, unquote. There is one who can save you, Bhakti Devi, devotion. If you offer her to the lotus-eyed Lord, the killer of Narakasura, she will carry you across this ocean without fail. Beautiful. So again, it's almost taking an infinite step down to even speak about Vedic scriptures in this way, but still, it's valuable, it's helpful to look at this from a literary perspective. How amazing. He begins addressing the mind by calling the mind a fool. Oh, foolish mind. How does he begin here? Dear mind. Why is this the case? Because again, first he's addressing the mind as the mind is deep within illusion. And he's telling the mind, don't be a fool. You're a fool. But now he says, oh dear mind. Why? Because now he has instructed the mind. Because now the mind has the most precious of all gems. It has jnana, it has true knowledge. So now the mind is something dear. So he says to the mind, do not bewilder yourself by anxiously thinking. And then let's stop there. So, indeed, anxiety. This is one of the hallmarks of this world. So many, not just humans, beings are in anxiety. We can see it in animals. Oh, we can see when a cat is in anxiety, a dog, any sort of animal. Oh, if we were to observe animals in the wild, they're always in some sort of anxiety. They're worried that a predator is going to come after them and eat them, or vice versa. They are a predator and they're wondering, where am I going to get food today? So you have to feel sorry for both, for the predator and for the prey, actually. But there's anxiety. Now, is anxiety something that is natural to us? No, not spiritually. Why do we have anxiety? Well, everything that has thus far been said, not just in these verses we're doing today, but the whole of the Mukunda Mala Stotra, and for that matter, the whole of the Vedic scriptures. We are in anxiety because we are in the illusion that we have a reason to be anxious. When we rid ourselves of that illusion and we understand that God is with us at all times as our very best friend, then the anxiety is gone. Then, once we achieve that state of awareness, what have we achieved? Vaikuntha, that realm with no anxiety. So he says to his mind, do not bewilder yourself by anxiously thinking. And then what are people thinking? How can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence? Today, in 2026, is this what everyone's thinking? No. You think the typical person sitting on the bus, sitting on a subway car in Manhattan, etc., whatever scenario you can think of, you think that this is what people are actually anxious about? Oh, how can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence? Most people know. No, this is not what's giving them anxiety. So interestingly, Kulashekhara is not addressing it with this verse just anyone and everyone. Because most people, again, they're in anxiety, but what are they in anxiety about? The most base things, the most materialistic things, the most biologically animalistic sort of things, including the humans, But who is he addressing? That small, tiny number of individuals who are Vaishnavas and more. He's now addressing his own mind as a mind that is now under the control of a Vaishnava. So he's addressing those highest of people who, they've been through the suffering of this world and now they realize the situation that they're in, that they need to transcend dualities, and they have this anxiety of thinking, all right, I want to become spiritual now. All right, I've had enough of material suffering. I understand. But how do I do this? How do I come to the point of liberation? How do I become a good person in the truest and purest sense of that word? This is who he's addressing, because only such a person would be in anxiety about this question. How can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence? And then Kulashekhara gives the answer. There is one who can save you. There are 17 who can save you. There are 29 who can save you. There are 3 who can... No. There is one who can save you. And interestingly, of course, the typical person would think, if they were reading this for the first time and they didn't see what are now the words that will come right after this, they would think, he's going to say God. He's going to say God. He's going to say something like that. He's going to say Nārāyana. He doesn't. This is what's truly amazing. He references specifically Bhakti Devi as a person, not even Bhakti as a process, not even Bhakti as a mode of awareness and spiritual consciousness. He's actually addressing the goddess Bhakti herself. And he says, actually, she is the one who can save you. So there is one who can save you, Bhakti Devi, devotion. And now he explains in this most beautiful and poetic of ways, if you offer her, so again, not if you offer it. He's not talking about something procedural here, even spiritually procedural. He's talking about radical personality, as personal as it gets. He's talking about the goddess of devotion, Bhakti Devi. If you take Bhakti Devi, that is your devotion, who is personified as the Devi Bhakti, if you take your devotion and you offer that to who? The lotus-eyed Lord. So here are the lotuses again. One would think that Kulashekhara has a true preoccupation with lotus flowers. He doesn't at all. He has a preoccupation with the beauty of God and reveling in the beauty of God that is so astounding to his senses, to the point where the only way that he can describe it to individuals not experiencing it is that beauty is akin to the beauty of a lotus flower, which is one of the most beautiful things you can see. So, indeed, if you offer Bhakti Devi, devotion, to the lotus-eyed Lord, and he makes it again clear so that people can't play games with this. We don't really know. Here's the atheistic little midget scholar. We don't really know from the contextual evidence who exactly he's addressing. No, we do know. And he makes sure to make it clear. That lotus-eyed Lord, the killer of Naraka Asura, that is Krishna. There's one individual throughout the history of all things who killed a specific demon named Naraka. That was Krishna in his avatar form 5,200 years ago. So, if you offer devotion to Lord Krishna, who has eyes that are so beautiful, that they are akin to lotus flowers. This is the only thing that we can compare them to. Think of the most beautiful thing that you can see with your eyes, and we will compare the eyes of God to that. And who is this God? Not just anyone, Krishna. That individual who is known to have killed a specific demon by a specific name, just to make it clear. And now, she, and that's the translation, she, devotion, Bhakti Devi, she herself will carry you across this ocean without fail. So he uses this beautiful analogy of the ocean, the ocean, the ocean, this ocean of material existence, of the dualities in which we all find ourselves, and we find ourselves happy one day because we have an ice cream cone, and miserable the next day, and then happy again, and finally coming to the point where we ourselves understand it's actually the duality itself that we are to transcend. Now, what do we do with this realization? Now we appeal to Bhakti Devi herself, and we cultivate Bhakti Devi within our hearts, that is devotion. And giving that devotion unto God, it is that process in and of itself that now will carry us across that ocean, and that will free us. But then he ends with these two words. Very important. Again, people who don't give the Vedic scriptures enough credit don't see these things. He ends with two words, without fail. Without fail. What's another way of saying that? You can look in the thesaurus. What's another synonym? Guaranteed. It's guaranteed. No. It's guaranteed. Like we can guarantee the sun will rise tomorrow. It's guaranteed that if you have devotion toward that lotus-eyed Lord, Krishna, Sri Nārāyana, you will transcend the duality of this world, which in and of itself, the duality itself is the cause of our pain and our suffering and our anxiety. And if you indeed offer devotion to this lotus-eyed Lord, that suffering will end. The ocean will end up infinitely behind you. And this Kulashekhara himself, this amazing individual who was both a king and a great devotee, says, and I guarantee what I've just said without fail. So indeed, truly beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is the Mukunda Mala Stotra, and indeed we will continue and continue and continue. That's the decision that I made a little bit before last week. And again, it's not very long. It's some 50-something verses, and we'll continue going through the entirety of the Mukunda Mala Stotra. And in the meantime, just for a very short amount of time, when I say short, I mean short. We're going to be ending before the top of the hour. Are there any questions that anyone might have? Any questions about anything that we have addressed? Any questions, sincere questions about Sanatana Dharma? Please feel free. As I always have to tell people, I know that there's a little bit of a delay. We're live, but not quite live. There's like a 20, 30-second delay, something like that. So I'll wait for questions to come in the chat. In the meantime, are there any questions here among our devotees in the temple? We have a temple room full of devotees, as people can probably hear, including our baby brigade and everyone else. We have a baby brigade, we have a human brigade, and then we have a brigade of beneficent, invisible beings who are always here with us, also listening in. Very good. We're all good here? All right. If somehow I could turn the camera around, you would see a temple room full of very happy devotees with big smiles on their faces. You would know what it means to be a Vaishnava if you saw these people. Very good. I believe there are some questions here. So give me a moment. Here is one, and this is at least two-parter. Namaste Sri Acharya, my humble and deepest obeisances from Canada. Namaste to you, and we're always happy to hear about devotees from Canada. We have many devotees throughout the totality of Canada, actually, including some who are here with us live in our temple. But your question is just a practical meditation question today. When reciting the names of Krishna, should we envision the mantra words? And then it continues, Krishna's face from his lotus feet up, or are all options good? Very nice. Let me definitely answer this. First of all options are good. You can't say any of these options are bad. So let me first start with this basic answer, actually. If one is meditating, and let's say you're even doing mantra meditation. If you're doing mantra meditation and you're focusing on the face of Krishna, either in murti form or an image or anything like that, that's good. Indeed, anything sacred that you can focus on as you're doing mantra meditation is good. On the one hand, you can't say it's bad, but it's a matter of good and then best. What is best to do when one is reciting the names of God is to focus on those names. And for many reasons that we've spoken about in the past, as far as dhyana technique, that is dhyana, meditation proper, this is what has always been understood, and without question and without alteration. It's not a matter of speculation. When it comes to the actual yoga literature, and individuals who are master yogis. And I'm not talking about people just in the last 100 years. No. I'm talking about people who lived thousands of years ago. Real yogis, people who achieved liberation. Everyone is on the same page. And that is that what meditation means is one-pointed focus awareness upon one thing. Not two things, not more than two things, but one thing. That is the definition of meditation in accordance with all yoga literature, including Bhagavad Gita, and all true yogis, i.e. ancient yogis. So that being the case, the way that we do proper mantra meditation in yogic form is that we have all of our awareness centered upon the mantra alone, to the point where, indeed, our eyes should be closed. We should be, again, in yogic form. What does that mean? Well, that means as much as is possible, sitting, kind of how I'm sitting. This is Ardha Padma Asana, half lotus pose. If you can do full lotus, that's good as well. But in a comfortable but yogically meditative proper sort of form like this, your eyes should be closed. You should be in an area where you have zero distractions, so as little noise as possible, as little going on as possible, exterior to yourself. And as you are reciting the mantra, which you can say either out loud, you can whisper, or you can say in your mind, you are focusing on nothing else but that mantra, to the point where it's extreme focus. It's relaxed focus. This is what's amazing. It is as relaxed as can be, but it is extreme focus, to the point where as you're reciting Om Namo Nārāyanaya, Om Namo Nārāyanaya, as you're reciting the mantra, focusing on the sound, if at any point it even comes into your mind, this is very nice, I'm really focusing on the mantra well, you're not doing meditation. That surprises people. We're talking about that level of concentration, to the point where you're not even thinking to yourself about the mantra, you are focusing on the mantra. And again, the reasons for this are many, including the fact that, the sound vibration alone is the name of God. It alone is all that is necessary in order to achieve liberation. So I hope that answers the question. Very good. And here's another nice question. And it's Dandavata Maharaja. I offer my obeisances at your lotus feet, and I offer my obeisances to you as well. If there is time, could you kindly speak briefly about the Divya Deshams glorified by the Alvars? Thank you. Yes, I can speak about them, but it would be better if I had about another hour. The Divya Deshams are quite literally, Divya means divine, and Desham, Desha. Desha means land or area. So the Divya Deshams are 108, very specifically, very sacred locations in accordance with the Vaishnava tradition. And indeed, again, I think you understand even by the nature of your question. No, I can't talk about all of them because we're going to end in literally about 2 minutes or less. But let me just say, generally speaking, these are areas that have been recognized for at least thousands of years. People may say eternally. No, that's not quite the case, because some of these places did not exist over 5,000 years ago. They would have come into existence, so they were eternal in the mind of God, but not as actual physical locations. So therefore not deshams or areas per se, but concepts within the mind of God. But these are 108 sacred areas that are sacred because they are all involved in various pastimes of God. This being the case, these are also tirthas, meaning that they are sacred places to go to visit, to see the primary murti that is there. And there's always a primary murti connected to any of the Divya Deshams. And it is very good to go there to offer your obeisances unto them, etc. But these are 108 pilgrimage places that are especially sacred to Lord Nārāyana. So that's what the Divya Deshams are. And again, anything more than that, and then yes, we're talking about a very, 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 very long answer, which we actually don't have time to do because, as I mentioned a long time ago, we're ending before the top of the hour, before 3 o'clock. But yes, thank you very much for that wonderful question. Very good. And are there any more questions here, or are we good? We're all good? All right, wonderful. Well, that being the case, indeed, we will be ending here. And I want to thank everyone for being here in every way. Very good. Very quickly, the person who asked about meditation says, "Thank you for your answer to my question, Sri Guru. This is actually going to be incredibly helpful to my meditation." Thank you for saying that. I truly appreciate it. But again, we are indeed out of time. Let me just remind people that indeed, if you have not liked this video yet, please do so. If you have not subscribed, please do that as well. Please do everything in your power to tell people about both our channel here on YouTube, but also about the International Sanatana Dharma Society itself, which is indeed the leading movement upon the face of the earth today, empowered by God Himself to restore Dharma upon this earth. That is what the International Sanatana Dharma Society is, and nothing less. Thank you for your support. And with that, everyone, please take very good care of yourselves until the next time we get together. That was very cute. Again, if people watching could be here and see the amazing things that happen here, I won't say who it was, but there was one baby who was crawling his way toward me, and there had to be a little intervention. But it is absolutely wonderful that we have our beautiful community here of adults, children, so many wonderful Vaishnavas of all ages and all descriptions. So again, to get back on track, I thank you all for being here. Please join us again next week as we continue with the Mukunda Mala Stotra. And with that, everyone, Namaste. Jaya Shriman Nārāyana.
Jaya Shriman Nārāyana.
And everyone, as I have been telling you all, leaving you with these words for some time now, and I will continue for a little bit longer. I leave you with these words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, wherein he says in the perfect and pure Sanskrita, Ma Shuchaha, do not fear. And everyone, until next time, namaste.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamādharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge